A notification hit the national ticker with 8 words Canada hadn't seen before. The Lawrence Bishnoi Group is now a terrorist organization. A criminal network, not a militia, placed in the same legal category as extremist groups, known for enforcing power through violence instead of negotiation. This was not speculation. This was a government confirming something had already happened. No cartel, but a gang. No ideology, but a network that operated like one. The question isn't why they were labeled terrorists. The question is what they did before the label arrived. Missed the button? Go ahead, subscribe now so you don't forget later. Before Canada called them terrorists, before businesses across Surrey paid extortion to unknown numbers, one figure sat at the top of every intelligence brief. Lawrence Bishnoi. Born in Abohar, Punjab, raised in Fazilka district, he wasn't a gangster at first. He was a student leader at Punjab University, Chandigarh. Politics opened the door. Violence kept it open. By 2010, he was already linked to armed groups, extortion cells, and student union muscle contracts. By 2014, he had become a name police recognized immediately. The arrests didn't stop him, they relocated him. Because inside prison, power didn't end, it expanded. A network formed under him, not loyal to ideology, but to income, extortion, contract killings, ransom kidnappings, cross-border gun running. If someone paid, someone died. From behind bars, Bishnoi built what investigators now describe as a decentralized killing infrastructure. A call leaves an Indian prison cell. A handler in Canada answers. A shooter receives a location, a target name, a price. When it's done, a photo or video confirms the result. Payment moves after proof, not before. Not personal, transactional. But one question remained. Why Canada? Because Canada held something Punjab did not. Scale. A Punjab diaspora larger than most cities in India. An economy built on real estate money, trucking fleets, international student networks, and Gurdwara leadership structures. Cash and influence in the same space, oxygen for organized crime. And another factor intelligence analysts could not ignore: tension. Many Sikh activists in Canada hold political views that conflict with Indian state narratives, particularly around Khalistan independence. Division creates vulnerability. Vulnerability attracts leverage. Leverage becomes opportunity. That opportunity was seized by Bishnoi, but not alone. Goldie Brar, once a student in Punjab, later a close ally, left India and reportedly established operations from Canada itself. Brar allegedly coordinated hits through encrypted channels, using Canadian shooters as contractors, not disciples. Canada became the marketplace. Orders came from Punjab. Execution came from Surrey, Vancouver, Brampton. Court material, CBSA notes, and RCMP testimony show investigators believe that VoIP masking, VPN routing, and cross-border SIM cycling helped hide the order chain. Some shooters were paid cash, others were paid debt clearance, a few were paid reputation, the most valuable currency in contract violence. Then came the detail almost everyone missed. There are allegations that Indian state-linked elements may have used gang networks like Bishnoi's to pressure or eliminate separatist voices abroad when diplomatic means failed. India denies it. Canada hasn't proven it, but 4 arrests in the Nijar killing and multiple open investigations keep the possibility alive. So another question emerges, quietly. Was this gang exporting crime, or was someone exporting enforcement? Because if a criminal syndicate gains purpose beyond money, it stops looking like a gang and starts functioning like an arm. Canada didn't classify them as terrorists because they might become one. It classified them after they already operated like one. Before extortion became economics, and before business owners across Surrey whispered payment demands like medical diagnoses, there were 2 bodies, and both deaths looked less like conflict and more like instruction. June 18, 2023. Surrey, British Columbia. Evening at the Guru Nanak Sikh Gurdwara. 45-year-old Hardeep Singh Nijjar, Canadian citizen and temple president, walked toward his truck. Indian authorities publicly accused him of Khalistan-aligned militancy, but Canada never issued such a designation. Reports indicate Nijar was warned multiple times by CSIS that his life was at risk. He continued his routine anyway. At roughly 8:27 p.m., witnesses observed two masked shooters approach. One advanced toward the driver's side, another from a forward angle. If confirmed, the method fits a flanking pattern used in targeted ambushes. Gunfire followed. Approximately 34 rounds were discharged. Shell casings were recovered in concentrated clusters, indicating controlled fire from one or more handguns. Multiple rounds struck the vehicle's driver's side area and windshield perimeter. Patterns consistent with kill zone targeting. Nijar collapsed near his vehicle. RCMP units responded minutes later. Nijar was pronounced dead at scene. IHIT described the attack publicly as targeted. CCTV captured the exit. A silver Toyota Camry, light steady, leaving in controlled acceleration. The vehicle passed through a camera corridor, then slipped into a recorded angle gap. His family was inside the temple when the call came. For nearly a year, developments stayed sealed. May 2024, 3 Indian nationals living in Canada were arrested and charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy. A fourth was later linked to the same case. Court records imposed a 7-person no-contact order. In Rajasthan, parallel arrests reportedly tied to the Bishnoi ecosystem were announced, but Canada has not legally confirmed command chain connection. The shooters are identified. The origin of the order remains unproven, so ask yourself, if you can charge the trigger, why can't you name the hand? September 2023, Winnipeg, Manitoba. Sukhdul Sukha Singh Gill, also known as Sukha Duneke, was shot dead inside an apartment residence. Indian police records list him as a wanted gang figure. Reports state he was hit multiple times, but no autopsy results have been publicly released, and no arrests have been announced. Motive remains formally unresolved. 2 high-profile Punjabi men, 2 targeted shootings in 2 provinces, 3 months apart. Not coincidence, sequence. Sikh Canadian communities reacted fast. Temples increased camera coverage. Schedules shifted. Some leaders varied arrival and departure times to disrupt predictability. Then the country's orbit changed. Canada stated it was pursuing credible allegations of potential involvement by agents of the government of India in Nijar's killing. India called the claim absurd. Diplomatic expulsions followed on both sides. 2 murders became a tension line between governments. No court has identified the mastermind. No verdict names the origin of the directive. But the effect is real and measurable, because after blood comes business. The shift from ideology to income didn't arrive with an announcement. It arrived with invoices written in threats. After 2 killings, fear wasn't theory anymore. It was currency. By early 2024, Surrey RCMP had logged more than 70 extortion reports, many linked to businessmen in construction, transport, real estate, and temple committees. Police statements indicated that more than half of those cases involved gunfire, property damage, or arson attempts. Investigators across BC, Ontario, and Alberta confirmed patterns. Business owners approached through encrypted calls, then sent photos of their homes as proof of surveillance. Some messages listed exact family names, others included videos of previous targets. Extortion was no longer threat adjacent. Extortion was business. Business owners began altering commute patterns. Children were dropped off at school by different drivers on different days. GPS-tracked delivery routes were changed weekly. Some companies switched phones entirely. May 14, 2025, Mississauga. A parking lot. Harjit Dada, known in local circles for property development, was shot outside his vehicle. Hours later, an online claim attributed to Rohit Godara, a figure publicly associated with Bishnoi networks, alleged Dada had mishandled money owed to the organization. Police eventually arrested suspects, but no court has confirmed a leadership-ordered hit. One killing doesn't define a pattern, but 2025 delivered clusters, not isolated points. Surrey, the flashpoint. 3 cases, each distinct, each unresolved. Satish Kumar, linked to temple administration, survived 2 drive-by shootings after a reported $2 million extortion demand. No arrests. Shell casings were recovered. CCTV captured partial vehicle movement, but cameras lost angle during the escape. Satwinder Sharma, 57, a labor supply contractor, was shot inside his office after a brief exchange with two men who entered calmly and left without rush. No cash stolen, no altercation reported, just bullets placed with intent. Sharma had worked the same office since 1992. His daughter found him. Then Ragbir Singh, associated with Nijjar's network, found his trucking yard riddled with rounds and partially burned. Fire investigators documented dual ignition points, one on fuel storage, one near the dock gate, suggesting intent to destroy visibility rather than maximize damage. 3 events, 3 open investigations, no courtroom closure. Surrey police stated that a task force expansion was underway. But every new briefing carried the same sentence: investigation continues. Brampton, June 2025. MP Dinoa, shot in a drive-by execution. Media reporting suggested a link to Goldie Brar. That connection remains unproven legally. No conviction, no named mastermind. If murder was the opening act, extortion became the business model. Because bullets make headlines, but silence generates profit. So here's the question you should be asking. How many people paid before someone got shot? Quick reminder, if you're still watching, fear was only the surface. Influence was the goal. The next chapter isn't about payment. It's about visibility, reputation, and celebrity-level warfare. The difference between extortion and theater is audience. And by 2025, the Bishnoi network stopped collecting money quietly and started sending messages publicly, not to victims, to Canada. It began with a cafe, not a nightclub, not a warehouse, but Cap's Cafe, tied to comedian Kapil Sharma, a name with reach, visibility, and cultural currency. July 10, 2025, night hours. Shots tore through the front windows. Bullet strikes marked signage and exterior paneling. No one was hit. No one was arrested. Police reviewed limited footage. The angle captured only vehicle motion, not faces. August 7, 2025, 28 days later. A second burst of rounds. Same location. Similar entry vector. Surveillance again recorded movement but lacked facial identification. Then the third strike. October 16, 2025. Same cafe, same confidence. Reports named alleged shooters, Sherry and Diljot Rahal, under a handler called Sipu, but law enforcement has not secured formal charges. India Today documented the statistic that matters most. 3 attacks, 0 suspects in custody. When a building is hit 3 times and the shooters never fall, the act is no longer execution, it is performance. Surrey, Channy Natin residence. Infrared camera caught motion, then muzzle flash. Rounds struck siding and window frame. No entry attempt. No follow-up engagement. This was punctuation, not pursuit. Police canvassed the street, collected casings. No arrests. Hours later, a claim circulated online attributed to Goldie Dillon, referencing not Natin, but Sardar Kara, as the intended target. Anyone beside him is collateral, not a threat. A policy. CBC and India-based outlets later reported 5 to 6 additional incidents, believed linked to the same climate after the gang was labeled a terrorist entity. Meaning the designation wasn't deterrent, it was backdrop. The attacks didn't slow after the terrorist label. They accelerated. Between the designation and year-end, investigators tracked at least 5 to 6 linked events, none resulting in arrests. Venue owners requested private guards. Artists reduced public appearances. Security firms reported increased camera installation in South Asian neighborhoods. Business owners whispered more than they spoke. Because celebrity hits do not seek payment. They seek witnesses. If extortion was revenue, this phase was advertising. Violence televised for effect, not income. Why escalate visibility after receiving a terrorist designation? What power grows from being feared publicly instead of privately? The cafe attacks fed headlines. The singer shooting fed notoriety. But the moment the country shifted from concern to confirmation was not a warning, but a body, and later a court ruling that proved the Bishnoi network was not speculation, but operation. October 27, 2025, Abbotsford, British Columbia. Inside the driver's seat sat Darshan Singh Sasi, 68 years old, founder and president of Can-Am International. A vehicle passed his car once, then again. The third time, the passenger window lowered, sharply, deliberately. Short bursts of fire entered the cabin. Multiple rounds struck Sasi. He died where he sat. Sources suggest multiple shell casings were recovered. RCMP response was rapid, reportedly within minutes. IHIT canvassed the area the following day, seeking doorbell footage and surveillance angles. Then came the online claim. Accounts associated publicly with Bishnoi-linked extortion elements posted that Sasi was targeted for failing to comply financially. Some messages referenced disputes involving capital flow. None of this is confirmed by Canadian law enforcement. The homicide is documented. The motive is allegation. No suspect has been arrested. Businesses quietly noticed. Anecdotal reports indicated an increase in private security consultations, upgraded CCTV, and requests for unmarked patrol presence. But Abbotsford was only impact. The proof came from another city entirely. A BC residence belonging to a musician was hit with 14 rounds, followed by an ignition event that burned the vehicle outside. Investigators later presented evidence that the shooter, Abjit, also documented as Abjit Kra, wore a recording device, believed to be body-mounted. The footage reportedly captured the strike itself, consistent with proof of work documentation used in contract enforcement. This case did not end in theory. It ended in sentencing. Canadian court records state that Kra acted under contract for the Bishnoi organization, the first legally recognized affirmation of a Bishnoi-directed attack on Canadian soil. Prosecutorial framing described the act as deliberate, coordinated, and intended to generate fear beyond the immediate victim. Kra received a 6-year prison sentence. Public reporting also names Vikram Sharma as a suspected offshore coordinator. Canadian courts have not legally confirmed his leadership or directive role. 2 events, one unresolved, one proven. An industrialist executed in a parked car. No arrests, no motive ruling. A musician's home sprayed and burned, with body cam footage, conviction and acknowledged contract. Different targets, same structure, same architecture of violence. If a businessman can be killed without a suspect named, does silence protect or expose? If a contracted shooter films his work and still reaches sentencing, what stops the next commission from being larger? If extortion refusal can translate into homicide, how many pay before the demand even arrives? More importantly, if the chain of command is visible enough for court recognition, why does the killing continue instead of contract collapse? The moment the violence turned inward wasn't loud, it was precise. Chandigarh, Sector 26. Inderjit Peri Singh, once inside the Bishnoi structure, stepped into open space. 8 close-range shots ended him. Not a dispute, not intimidation, a removal. Responsibility was claimed by Hari Boxer and Arzu, who said Peri diverted extortion revenue. A financial betrayal, not ideological. But that isn't confirmed by court. It lives only as admission, not evidence. Then came the fracture in public view. Goldie Brar released audio, not calling for blood, but naming betrayal. He didn't accuse rivals. He accused Lawrence Bishnoi. A single organization suddenly had 2 shadows, maybe more. Because when a gang splits, there is no chain of command, only competing command. No single target, no central negotiation, only multiple hands with access to the same trigger. And here's what nobody wants to say out loud. If the network is fracturing, who answers the phone when the next order comes? And that fracture sits on top of something larger, unfinished violence. There are files that close with paperwork and files that close with silence. Nijar. 4 men charged, but no proven order. Dada. 2 suspects arrested and charged with first-degree murder, Leadership link unconfirmed. Saucy, homicide with no arrest, no motive determined in court. Caps Cafe, 3 shootings, not 1 conviction. Chaninatin, gunfire, claim posted, still no chain of command proven. 5 cases, 5 incomplete endings. 5 reminders that structure exists, but resolution doesn't. So the final questions are not dramatic. They are structural. Who runs Canada's wing now? Bishnoi, Brar, or a splintered network with no single throat to cut? Are these hits political, financial, or fallout from internal debt recovery? If nobody controls the network, what prevents the next contract? Because governments don't label gangs terrorist for what they say, but for what they have done and what they still might do. The bullets may have paused, but networks don't stop. They reorganize. And if power is currency inside the Bishnoi world, the next victim won't be chosen for business or fame, but for meaning. And if you made it this far, you know what to do. Subscribe, hit the bell. There are more cases coming, where the truth is darker than any fiction. See you in the next one.